Emily Hawkins is an anti-abortion campaigner, and thank you, Emily, for joining me. What do you think of the amendments for a 22-term limit on abortion rather than 24 weeks? Why has this come about?
As far as I understand, it's mostly come about because, the British Association of Perinatal Medicine has now recognised that, in England we have an improved threshold for viability in the UK. So babies that are born at 22 weeks have much improved outcomes and are more able to survive. So, the question now becomes, if we can save children who are born at 22 weeks, why are we still allowing them to be killed under law up to 24 weeks? So that's sort of, I think, the main reason why this is being revisited at this time.
And in terms of abortion in general, you are essentially pro-life or an anti-abortion campaigner. Why do you take that particular stance?
So I know that life begins at conception. I know that I know that to be a scientific fact, and I don't think that we have grounds to take away someone's right to life, especially during pregnancy. I don't see the rationale for it. I think it's a human rights abuse to allow that under the law, and sort of I'm just very committed to upholding the right to life for all human beings, regardless of sort of their location, their age, their rights or their abilities or disabilities.
Abortion has been around since civilization, and there'll be people out there who say that for a lot of women, when they have an unwanted pregnancy, perhaps this is going to dramatically and drastically change their life to such a degree that they may not think themselves capable of providing a secure and comfortable home life for a baby. I mean, what if a woman has been raped? What if she's been abandoned by the man who's impregnated her? Do you still think that there's not any room for manoeuvre for that woman to say, I don't think this is appropriate. I don't think I will be able to be a good mother in this situation?
I mean, I think, you say abortion has been around for such a long time. That's true, but that's also true of lots of other things that we don't think are acceptable in modern society. So, I don't think saying it's been around for a long time is a good enough reason to just keep it under the law. I think we really ought to be working towards more holistic solutions, especially if women think they're not capable. I don't think we should ever accept that women aren't capable of certain things, especially if they might like to be, or it's a series of circumstances that we have the power to change, and we have the power to to make it a positive experience for women. I think it's so important to be able to create a society that actually supports women in pregnancy and actually supports women to, to say yes to life, to say that, having a child is not this barrier to existing as a woman in society, that having a child doesn't shut you out of modern life, that having a child doesn't mean you can't do things, that, you absolutely can do things and have children. I think it's a terrible narrative to say that children are an obstacle to anything.
And do you think that is what fundamentally is behind the fact that abortion rates have increased hugely? And in fact, what's happened is for teenagers, at one point we used to talk about teenage pregnancies a lot in this country, and well, thankfully they are massively falling at the moment. But it's actually women over the age of 30 who are choosing to go through with terminations, possibly because they don't think they can have it all, possibly because they do think that having a child is going to compromise their career perhaps, or perhaps it's because men aren't sticking around anymore.
I think it's definitely some of that's all together in like a nasty, vicious combination. Definitely, women feel like you get this motherhood penalty when you have a child in terms of work-life balance. There's an expectation that women will do less good work once they have children, whereas there's no such expectation that men will do that. So women sort of get challenged a bit more, and women get, it's the assumption that women will do all of the childcare, or women will be the one to stay home when the children are sick rather than the fathers. And, so there's this whole conversation to be had about making the workplace something more friendly for women, more sort of, open to working mothers, women who, want to do both, want to be at home and have, a work life as well. So, I think there's a lot of room definitely for growth and development. And I think, having abortion legal actually hinders that. Having abortion legal means that women get told if they have children, oh, well, you chose that. If you're, trying to tell your colleague, oh, I've had a really rough time because my child's been up at night, you're more likely to get a response of, well, you chose that. rather than a response of support. So, you know, abortion being legal actually has this ramification in society where women no longer get the same amount of support because it's no longer as accepted that, childbearing and child rearing is actually something that's kind of normal and something that's part of life and something that is, that should be supported by the general community. It's become much more of an individualistic thing. And I think women really feel that lack of support, and that makes them feel less comfortable about this idea that, maybe if they have a child, then they might be on their own doing that. And I think, we have to start changing that kind of attitude, and it's up to us in our workplaces and in our friendship groups to do that.
Emily, thank you ever so much for joining me and giving me your opinions on this always controversial topic. Emily Hawkins, who's an anti-abortion campaigner.